Does your furry friend take over your bed every night? It's time to reclaim your space while giving them the comfort they deserve with the coldest, cozy dog bed. Don't wait. Check out the link in the video description to buy now on Amazon.
Exclusive. Accused killer cop Beau Lamarre-Condon has been moved to Australia's most top-secret jail as his mental health continues to decline after almost 6 months in strict segregation. Lamarre-Condon was recently transferred to a clandestine unit within Sydney's Long Bay prison complex, called the Special Purpose Centre, SPC, which houses NSW's most vulnerable inmates. The SPC currently holds about 30 of the state's 13,000 prisoners, and is so far off the grid most corrective services staff cannot access information about who is in there. Sometimes known as the kennel because of the number of dogs or informers it accommodates, once inmates step inside the SPC's walls, their whereabouts no longer appear on the corrective services computer system. Instead of being referred to by name or the master index number, MIN, every prisoner receives when they are first go into custody. SPC occupants are identified internally by a number following the letter P. It's basically for inmates who can't be put anywhere else because they'd be killed, a prison source told Daily Mail Australia. Mark Standen, the one-time assistant director of the NSW Crime Commission who was jailed over a $120 million drug plot, spent most of his 16 years behind bars at the SPC before his release in June. Lamarre-Condon is charged with murdering former Studio 10 presenter Jesse Baird and Qantas flight attendant Luke Davies at Paddington on February 19. He was previously in protective custody at the Metropolitan Remand and Reception Centre, MRRC, at Silverwater in Sydney's west before being shifted to the SPC about 6 weeks ago. Earlier this month, the 28-year-old was hit with an additional charge of aggravated break and enter, and the murder charges were specified to be related to domestic violence. Lamarre-Condon's solicitor John Walford said his client was struggling to adjust to his situation as his legal team waited for the rest of the prosecution's brief against him to be served. "I can say in general terms he's feeling overwhelmed," Mr. Walford told Daily Mail Australia. His mental health issues are declining. He's frustrated because he can't say anything at the moment. He's feeling very frustrated. He wants to be able to say something. I can say that to you at the moment, he's not doing well. He's declining. Mr. Walford only learned of the fresh charge, and that police were officially alleging the deaths of Mr. Baird and Mr. Davies were acts of domestic violence, through media reports. While the case makes its way through the courts, Lamarre-Condon can expect to stay in his present location. Whereas Supermax at Goulburn contains prisoners who represent a danger to staff and other prisoners, the SPC warehouses those who are at extreme risk of physical harm. It sometimes even takes offenders smaller states cannot keep safe, such as Perth bikie Sid Snot Reid, who turned on his gypsy joker bikie comrades. Reid became perhaps Australia's most infamous supergrass after he was arrested over the 2001 car firebombing murders of former Western Australian CIB boss Don Hancock and his friend Lou Lewis. A retired senior prison officer who had never been inside the facility despite working in the NSW jail system for decades said few corrective services employees were familiar with the place. "All the inmates are referred to by a number, not by name," he said. "I always thought of the place as an upmarket boneyard. It's basically a very expensive protection unit." Wayne Astle, who is serving a maximum 23 years for raping 14 female inmates when he was a prison officer at Dalwynia Correctional Centre, has called the SPC home since shortly after his arrest. Former federal court judge Marcus Einfeld did time at the SPC after being convicted of perjury and perverting the course of justice for claiming a dead woman was driving his car when he received a speeding fine. Despised rapist and prison informer Fred Menny spent his final years of incarceration at the SPC, while gangster Nettie Smith had a long stint there after cooperating with ICAC in the early 1990s. Swedish model Charlotte Lindström, who tried to hire a hitman to kill 2 witnesses giving evidence against her drug-dealing fiancé, was another notorious SPC resident. Lamarre-Condon is accused of shooting Mr. Baird, 26, and Mr. Davies, 29, with his service pistol at Mr. Baird's home and then dumping their body.